Craftsman Days are here at Lowe's with big savings on the tools you need. Save $100 on the Craftsman V20 6-Tool Power Tool Combo Kit, now at $199. No matter what the project is, Craftsman's high-quality, high-performance products empower you to build on. Stop by your nearest Lowe's store and check out the full line of Craftsman tools today. Valid through 6/18 while supplies last. Selection varies by location.
You just realized your business needed to hire someone yesterday. How can you find amazing candidates fast? Easy. Just use Indeed. Stop struggling to get your job post seen on other job sites. With Indeed sponsored jobs, your post jumps to the top of the page for your relevant candidates, so you can reach the people you want faster. According to Indeed data, sponsored jobs posted directly on Indeed have 45% more applications than non-sponsored jobs. Don't wait any longer. Speed up your hiring right now with Indeed. And listeners of this show will get a $75 sponsored job credit to get your jobs more visibility at Indeed.com/PODKATZ13. Just go to Indeed.com/PODKATZ13 right now and support our show by saying you heard about Indeed on this podcast. Terms and conditions apply. Hiring? Indeed is all you need.
Welcome to the VSiN Weekend Morning Line on VSiN, the sports betting network.
Hour number 2 of the VSiN Weekend Morning Line. Happy Memorial Day to all. I'll be with you, of course, tomorrow morning as well. The VSiN Weekend Morning Line every Saturday and Sunday from 10 to 1 p.m. Eastern Time. And, you know, Memorial Day weekend is a weekend that obviously, first and foremost, we honor all of those who have fallen, who have served our country. But many of us think of it unofficial start to the summer. And depending on where you are from in the country, might have led to different traditions. And for me, even though I never played the sport, I always brought Memorial Day weekend to college lacrosse as we have the semifinals today between Maryland and Penn State and Maryland and Syracuse and Cornell and Penn State. So I always enjoy that kind of background noise. Those games will come on a little bit later. Obviously, the Indianapolis 500. I was in Indianapolis last Memorial Day weekend. That is quite the city to be a part of this weekend. And I mentioned it in the open. How about the weekend ahead for Indianapolis, where today the defending WNBA champion, New York Liberty, ascend upon Caitlin Clark's home to take on the Fever. Right now, 4.5 is the number in favor of the Liberty. We've seen a movement, and I'll just point this out. Now, I would leave this much to our guy, Tyler Shoemaker or Doug Kazarian, folks who handicap the WNBA on a regular basis, but let's just monitor the steam. And when you look at the WNBA, usually a pretty sharp market. This is a 3-point move. I'm not saying to blindly steam chase. That can always get you in trouble, but let's monitor it and see if the steam was accurate here on this particular game. The Liberty off to a 2-0 start, 2-0 ATS as well, taking on the Indiana Fever later on this afternoon, 1 o'clock Eastern tip time there in Indianapolis. Tomorrow night, of course, you got the Pacers taking on the New York Knicks, and JVT not really aspiring all that much confidence for Knick fans or for folks like myself and JVT and humans who thought this would be a long series. And maybe that game 1 ultimately come back to bite the Knicks in the rear end. Because I think, as we saw last night, and I'm not saying that the Knicks can't go to Indianapolis and get a winner. Yeah, I probably wouldn't get 2, but get a win. My takeaway from last night, Pacers are better. The Pacers are better than the New York Knicks. They are attacking weaknesses of the New York Knicks. And I mentioned the stat that Matt Moore pointed out, which is the defensive rating. When Karl Anthony Towns and Jalen Brunson were on the floor last night was 150, averaging 1.5 points per possession. That is putrid, absolutely gross. And that's why you saw Karl Anthony Towns getting pulled from the game late there. So we'll see how this ultimately plays out. We'll have much more on Pacers and Knicks tomorrow on the program. But we will head to New York City. We'll welcome in my buddy Cody Decker. See how the folks there in New York City are feeling this morning. I might tell them to go take a walk around downtown New York City, go down to Manhattan, and then come back and report for us how it's all playing out. Also worth noting, as we're getting into that time of year where the football prep has started, but also you're going to have to start to find different things to bet on. A lot of baseball, wrap it up with the NBA and NHL, but college baseball is rolling right now. And we're going to get the Field of 64, I believe, unveiled on Monday, but we've got conference tournaments going on. Matt Grissom going to join us here in studio coming up in 10 minutes. Matt lives and breathes college baseball, and he's going to join us here coming up in 10 minutes. But I mentioned this earlier this week on Follow the Money. It was Derek Stevens, it was Mike Palm, it was Jeffrey Benson joining Mitch and Paul talking about the exciting announcement regarding Circa Survivor and Circa Millions. And a year ago, in week 1 of Circa Survivor, 5,564 of the entries were eliminated. We had 14,266 heading into last year, and over 5,000 of them were eliminated in the first round. So once again, if you missed it, the announcement regarding Millions and Survivor. By the way, how about the hats this year? They're pretty sharp. I really like them. You got the Circa Survivor hat there. Got the Circa Millions hat there. We'll put them on the desk. But yeah, the hats are looking sharp this year for Survivor and Millions. $15 million guaranteed for Circa Survivor. Think about the growth of Circa Survivor over the years since it came into existence here at Circa. I believe this is year what? I believe this is year 6 of Circa Survivor. And now we're at 15 million guaranteed. But you put in that Circa Survivor entry, and as we saw last year with over 5,500, it could be gone in week number 1 as carnage set in very early on just a year ago in Circa Survivor. So it's so early, but already, let's take a look. Already, live look here. We've already got 11 folks signed up. We're on our way to getting over 15 million entries. And we'll talk more about the specifics of Circa Million and Circa Survivor and the new big, high stakes, big baller contest with Jeffrey Benson coming up in the third hour of the show. But take a look at week 1. And the NFL continues to do you no favors when it comes to Survivor in week 1. A year ago, the number 1 team selected in week 1 was the Cincinnati Bengals. The Bengals lost to the New England Patriots in week number 1, 16-10. And when you look at week 1, the biggest point spread right now on the board is 7.5. And that's Denver against Tennessee. And I would imagine, I'll go on a limb right now, and I'll say that Denver will be, without looking at the whole grid, and I know Derek has brought in the grid, which is such a beautiful asset to have in your back pocket, the grid of the whole season. Without looking at the entirety of the season, I would imagine Denver is going to be a pretty popular selection there in week number 1, as they are a 7.5-point home favorite against a rookie quarterback in Cam Ward. Because the other options from just a point spread standpoint are Washington against the Giants. Division game, always tricky. Also, Washington is a Christmas Day team. So they're playing the Dallas Cowboys at home. You got to map it out and look the whole way down. And right now, as you look at Christmas Day, because remember, Christmas Day, the unique wrinkle to Circa Survivor is that Christmas and Thanksgiving are their own weeks. And right now, on Christmas Day, the biggest favorite is the Washington Commanders. They play the Dallas Cowboys on Christmas Day. So are you going to want to hold back Washington? Also, divisional games, I don't know about you, always make me a little bit nervous. But they are at home. And you could certainly go that route. Or could you go the route of the Philadelphia Eagles? Also a division game. But the unique wrinkle to that, and I'm sure Derek will talk about it over the months in the summer, is that if you went in on Philadelphia and you came up empty, Dallas pulled it off the win, you could still rebuy. So that's the interesting aspect of Circa Survivor and the game theory as well. Do you want to, in air quotes, waste the Philadelphia Eagles right now and use them in week one, but you have the little bit of flexibility. If they were to lose to the Dallas Cowboys, you could get back in to Circa Survivor, obviously depending on your bankroll and how comfortable you feel there. But, one of the unique aspects there. But looking at week number one always poses unique challenges because right now, point spreads, we have 3 7-point spreads, 0 double-digit point spreads, and a whole lot of short point spreads, right? I mean, you look up and down the board. Let's go through it quickly. You've got Philadelphia, Dallas, 7. Chargers, Chiefs in Brazil, no thanks. Right now, 3. Commanders, Eagles, 7. Bengals at Browns. Are you going to trust the Bengals, who were the number one enemy of Circa Survivor entries a year ago? Week 1, blew things up against the New England Patriots. Remember, before we knew what the Commanders were, the Bengals were the number one selection of week 3 when they lost at home to the Washington Commanders. So are you going to trust the Bengals on the road against a team like Cleveland? And then you've got Atlanta, home dog. You've got Jags. Can you trust the Jacksonville Jaguars against the Carolina Panthers? You've got the Colts, 1.5. Seahawks, home dog. Packers, -1.5. Rams, -3. Bills, -1.5. Week 1, unless you're just saying, I got to go in on the Denver Broncos, which is fair, but the Broncos also play on Christmas. Now, granted, they'll be on the road at Kansas City and a dog, so probably maybe that is a spot. But man, week 1, we saw 5,564 eliminated a year ago of Circa Survivor, 14,266 entries. This year, the expectation north of 15 million entries, 15,000 entries. 15 million would be a lot. 15,000 entries. Week 1, it ain't going to be easy. But that's why you got time to see how it all plays out. Already 11 people have signed up. Much more on Millions and Survivor and the new High Roller contest they have with Circa coming up later on in the hour with Jeffrey Benson. Hey, folks, the NBA playoffs, as you know, are rolling along, and our partner ProfitX is offering the best odds all playoffs long. ProfitX is a peer-to-peer sports exchange available in 40-plus states. You'll be able to make your sports picks against other groups of fans rather than against the sports books. Exchanges guarantee you the best odds on average by 10 to 20%. You can even request your own odds. Download ProfitX today.
If you work in quality control at a candy factory, you know strict safety regulations come with the job. It's why you partner with Grainger. Grainger helps you find the high quality and compliant products your business needs to inspect, detect, and help correct issues. And the sweetest part is, everyone gets a product that's as safe to eat as it is delicious. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
You just realized your business needed to hire someone yesterday. How can you find amazing candidates fast? Easy. Just use Indeed. Stop struggling to get your job post seen on other job sites. With Indeed sponsored jobs, your post jumps to the top of the page for your relevant candidates, so you can reach the people you want faster. According to Indeed data, sponsored jobs posted directly on Indeed have 45% more applications than non-sponsored jobs. Don't wait any longer. Speed up your hiring right now with Indeed. And listeners of this show will get a $75 sponsored job credit to get your jobs more visibility at Indeed.com/PODKATZ13. Just go to Indeed.com/PODKATZ13 right now and support our show by saying you heard about Indeed on this podcast. Terms and conditions apply. Hiring? Indeed is all you need.
tuned in to the VSiN Weekend Morning Line.
We keep it rolling here on Memorial Day weekend. I'm Tim Murray, live from the Circus Sportsbook in downtown Las Vegas. We're going to talk a little Major League Baseball with Cody Decker coming up in 15 minutes. But before they get to the big leagues, not all of them, but a good chunk of them start in college baseball. And there's no one better to talk some college baseball with than my guy, Matt Grissom, who joins me right now, courtesy of our progressive guest line in studio. Mr. Grissom in the house. What's up, man?
Just stayed an extra day just so I could see you.
That's right.
Excited.
I texted Matt last night, and I'm like, hey, man, you want to come on the show? He's like, I'm here. I'm like, all right, let's get you up bright and early. And we got baseball going on right now, ladies and gentlemen. So, as a lot of our listeners are, we like to parachute in when it comes to college baseball, especially when the bracket comes out on Monday. But today and tomorrow, kind of fascinating. Tons of games every which way. It reminds me a lot of, conference tournament from a basketball standpoint, just every which way you look. There's games going on right now. So I guess, is it a battle of attrition right now? How do you go about handicapping these conference tournaments? Because unlike softball or any other normal sport, your best players can't pitch every single moment, right? So how challenging is it for you as a handicapper to handicap these conference tournaments?
Oh, it's very, very. I mean, we see Tennessee, Vanderbilt just started. We didn't know who was going to be pitching. You get like late announcements on pretty much everything because right now it's Johnny Holstaff throwing, So that's something to monitor. And then you've had now with SEC and ACC going to single elimination, you get a double bye if you're a top 4 seed. So you have teams that are just now playing their second game versus you've got teams playing their 4th or 5th. So there's a huge advantage there for the rest of all the arms available. So it's tough. You've really got to pay attention. Kansas last night, really liked them as a plus money dog. And then it was a late game scratch that their best hitter was going to be out of the lineup. So it was like, got to flip that to TCU now. And then I think they ended up run rolling them. So a lot of chaos right now.
So I'm curious because when it comes to, conference tournaments for hoops, and I equate this a lot to college basketball because I'm a college basketball guy. Is there a motivational edge that you look at for the conference tournaments? Because some of these teams, obviously, they don't need to win their conference tournament. Is there that thought process when it comes to your handicap or not necessarily?
Yeah, 100%. Because you've either got the teams that have already locked up a top 8 national seed.
And who are those teams? Who would you say right now? Like a team that no matter what, they could lose today and they're locked in a top 8 seed.
I think you've got Arkansas, LSU, Texas has already lost.
Okay.
Oregon from the Big Ten, I think they've locked up a top 8.
And they're right now, by the way, they're losing to Nebraska.
They are. Yeah, they were laying 2.5 runs yesterday, and then the rain delay got pushed.
They were a minus 440 favorite at close against Nebraska, and right now it's early, but they're down 3-1 right now.
Well, and they started their ace, Grayson Grinsell, so everybody assumed Oregon was going to win, but again, now you're in a rain delay. Who knows? Do you really care to win if you've already locked up that seed? So you may have a couple of plus 400 dogs come through today. So I think your top 8's set, but then you've got teams that are kind of outside of the hosting picture. Maybe Ole Miss right now, who's really trying to make a case to be a regional host. They beat Arkansas yesterday 5-2, and then they play this afternoon. So those are going to be teams where they may have not had the best regular season, but it's a 30 conference game season. And now they've kind of got a chance to boost their resume. Ole Miss plays LSU. They're plus 220. LSU threw their ace and their second day guy to just close out yesterday. So maybe Jay Johnson wants to be one and done. They got their one win. They know they're going to host. Now get back to Baton Rouge and get ready to host a regional.
So look at maybe Ole Miss today?
I think they're worth a shot.
Right now, Ole Miss, you can find around 2-1. By the way, shout out to our guy Jensen Lewis, who just texted me. He's listening, driving his way to the Big East Championship between UConn and Creighton. And he said, tell Matt he's fabulous and go Doors.
Hey, I like Vanderbilt too. And I hate to say that, and I hope Nick and the guys we do college baseball insiders. Tennessee's a big fan base in our group chat, but I'm on Vanderbilt this morning. So I think the Doors get it. I think their pitching staff is a little bit more consistent. When I saw Tegan Coons was getting the start for Tennessee, Vandy plus 105 was the play. Unfortunately, it started about 20 minutes ago.
Yeah.
So,
Look, we are on the air at 10 a.m. Eastern time, and there were games on before we even jumped on these airwaves.
It's been like that all week. It's great.
We're gonna have Matt on. I'm gonna, make him. I'm gonna put feet to the fire right now. Tuesday, VSiN primetime. You're coming on because we're gonna need regional breakdowns, and I love betting those regional prices. I think there's unique value there, but we can't talk about it now because it doesn't come out till Monday. Matt Grissom, you can follow him on social media at Grissom on X. Does some work for us for VSiN. And, of course, no better authority when it comes to college baseball betting than my guy Matt here. So Ole Miss, you had alluded to, maybe look at them as a plus $2 dog. As you look at the rest of the board today, once again, conference championship week, we've got championships, we've got semifinals today. Who are some other teams that jumped out to you a little bit later on today, Matt, for your card?
So another compelling one is the Florida State-North Carolina game. Florida State just got beat by North Carolina in Tallahassee. Really embarrassing fashion. They salvaged game 3, but Florida State was in that national seed. They're plus 120. I feel like with their second game starter going, they're in a good position to win this game. If they can just keep North Carolina from shoving, they've got a really good pitching staff. I think North Carolina's locked up their top 8. I don't know if Florida State can get back into that, but I definitely think Florida State, we were on them yesterday. I gave them out on Gil's show, and it was high priced at 170 to lay, but they cruised to victory, and now you can get them plus 120.
When you look down the rest of these conference tournaments, our guy, shout to Ben Wilson. I know he's calling the WAC tournament right now in, Mesa, Arizona. Who are some teams that, might be a 2 seed or a 3 seed in the regional that you're just kind of eyeing up, hoping they get the right draw right now? Who are some kind of mid-majors who jump out to you?
Not a mid-major, but Kansas. Okay. You don't really think about their baseball team. Up until last night, I was really high on them. They've got a good pitching staff, and they've got bats that can contend with anybody.
What seed do you think they'll be? Like
I think
2 or
they'll
3?
Be a 2.
2. Okay.
Yeah. They went into West Virginia, who West Virginia was going to win the Big 12, and Kansas swept them.
Wow.
Weren't worried about it at all. So they're a really good team that could get hot. Dallas Baptist, another one. I've got that one marked. If they get that Austin regional, I'm down on Texas. I know they were number 1 there for a while. They may be the number 1 overall seed. Their numbers don't align. They remind me a lot of like Kentucky last year, where Kentucky, Nick Mingione did a great job. They got to Omaha, but then it fizzled out because they didn't have all the pieces. The analytics didn't make sense for as good as their record was. So Texas kind of fits that. They're a top 50 team, not a top 5 team. And you look at Dallas Baptist, who they're very well balanced, top 20 in hitting and pitching. If they get that Austin regional, I feel like Texas is going to get upset.
Is Dallas Baptist looking like a 2?
Yeah, I think they'll be a 2.
Matt Grissom joining us here in studio at Grissom on X. And where can we find all of the college baseball handicapping knowledge?
collegebaseballinsiders.com. It's a free website to use. You can do a matchup preview, input the starting pitchers. Once you get them, good luck. We try to get them for you. Like I said earlier, it's not that easy. So we get those, throw those in there. It's got the odds. You can sort it by the biggest edge. Try to figure out where you can make some money.
All right, before we let you run, just from a future standpoint, once again, there's going to be a lot of parachuting. I'll raise my hand. I'm parachuting in. I love betting college baseball once it's here, but I know the value's there earlier in the year, and that's what we say a lot about college basketball, but we were late to the party. So if you're late to the party, who are some teams? So you mentioned maybe Texas you're a little low on. Who, Matt, would you say you're maybe a little higher on than the market out there?
I think Vandy at 20-1.
Is it just because Jensen's listening right now?
No. So I was really down on Vanderbilt, I guess, for the last 2 years. And Tim Corbin's always got a good team, but they couldn't hit the ball. Like they were a pitching staff. Now they've kind of got a good mix. And it was the same for Arkansas. Last year, year before, we get eliminated in regionals because we can't hit the ball. I mean, the writing was on the wall. You can say, oh, the pitching staff, though, is so good. But you've got to be able to hit. I mean, we saw Texas A&M, Tennessee last year in the championship final. They were the number 1, number 2 pitching staff, number 1, number 2 hitting staff. You got to have both. You got to have both parts. So that's what I look at. LSU, Arkansas, Vandy. Georgia is coming along. I've been really down on their pitching staff, but they've kind of pieced it together. They've gotten into that top 20, so they're kind of meeting that criteria of a champion. Auburn, curious to see how they're regional hosts. And does it sound like an SEC list?
I was going to say, is there any non-SEC teams that you want to mention?
SEC has won, 7 of the last 8. So it's
Who picks Suey? We got to get out of here, but you guys going to finally win a championship?
I don't know. Scoring 2 runs yesterday did not boost my confidence that we found an offense.
The pride of UCLA, Cody Decker. He'll join us next. That's Matt Grissom. Follow him on Grissom on X.
You're tuned in to the VSiN Weekend Morning Line.
Yes, indeed. We keep it rolling along. It is the VSiN Weekend Morning Line with you every Saturday and Sunday morning. We've got a game on the ice tonight. The Eastern Conference Finals rolls on down in Sunrise, Florida. The Panthers, a minus $1.50 favorite as they lead that series 2-0 over the Carolina Hurricanes. On the hardwood, we'll have more on this in hour number 3. Minnesota Timberwolves trying to get on the board there against the Oklahoma City Thunder, your odds-on favorites to win the NBA championship. We just talked some college baseball with our good friend Matt Grissom here in studio. Follow him on Twitter at Grissom on X, I guess on X, at Grissom on X. And a gentleman who knows a thing or two about college baseball because he played it at UCLA and his alma mater taking on the old Iowa Hawkeyes tonight at Charles Schwab Field in Omaha. The one and only Cody Decker joins us right now. Mr. Decker, how you doing, sir?
You're welcome that I showed up on another Saturday morning to take care of my good friend Tim. Tim, I'm great. My Bruins are great. But if you got guys out there putting money on college baseball, man, guys, there's so many Major League Baseball bets out there. It's free money, and you guys need to go and look at the college game. Guys, you need help.
Hey. We all are trying to find the edge. If you want to bet on lacrosse today with Cornell taking on Penn State, God bless you. Whatever you want to do.
Tim. I'm not going to sit here and pretend that I don't run a lacrosse show on Sirius XM. I absolutely do. That's what Beadle and Decker is. But let's be real clear here, buddy. If you're making lacrosse bets,
Hey, we don't judge. We are a judge-free zone here on VSiN. Maybe that's a Mad Dog Radio thing. You guys are judgy over there. We are judge-free.
Listen, sure, be judge-free all you want. I'll judge for all of us. And yeah, I judge you. I judge all of you.
Speaking of which, you can check out Cody Decker's show weekdays on Sirius XM's Mad Dog Radio from noon to 3 p.m. Eastern time. I was going to text you. I imagine you already did it because you are a man of the people. How we doing in New York City? Because the Knicks, good God, the Yankees went to Coors Field and lost to an 8-win team yesterday. And then the last game on the Major League board, we didn't get a run the first, 9th, 10th, or 10th, 11th, 12th, 13th. And then in the 13th inning, the Dodgers get a win at Citi Field. Are we good? Are we okay there in New York City right now?
I'm great. As for New York City, that ain't my problem, son. All I know is, I'll just ask you. I'm going to answer this with a question, Tim Murray. When you win, an NBA semifinal, I want to say that again, an NBA semifinal, not a conference final, not the finals, and you go ahead and throw a parade over there on 7th and 8th Avenue, and then you change the avenue names to all the players on the team going in to face the Pacers at home. Does that seem like maybe you're poking the bear a little bit? Does that seem like maybe you're celebrating a little early? Seems like a stupid thing for Knicks fans to do, considering the fact we've never been here before. We know, we can tell. You're acting like you've never been here before, and you're never gonna get there, son, because Tyrese Halliburton, that really overrated player everybody keeps talking about, he's got your asses numbered. Oh! This is great, dude. I'm loving this. There's nothing better than watching Knicks fans fall flat on their face. Trust me. I despise the Celtics, and it's been fun watching Celtics fans cry rivers. But dude, I'll take a sad Knicks fan over a sad Celtics fan any day of the week, and I'm a Laker fan saying that.
I thought that video of the dude doing pull-ups on the street sign, I thought that was you. I mean, with those, I don't know. I thought you got out there just part of the parties there.
Buddy, just because I'm doing pull-ups everywhere doesn't mean it's out of celebration for the Knicks. I could care less about these Knicks. I want to see them fall so hard.
All right, let's get to a little baseball here. Cody Decker joining us. You can follow him on social media at Decker6, and of course, he and Michelle Beadle, Sirius XM's Mad Dog Radio, weekdays noon to 3 p.m. Eastern time. I guess I'll stay in New York, and, when Juan Soto goes back to Yankee Stadium and then he, doesn't hustle out of the box, everyone's losing their mind because that's what ultimately New Yorkers tend to do. Overall concern regarding my guy, world champion Juan Soto. Just a reminder, world champion Juan Soto, who maybe single-handedly that trade is going to rebuild the franchise there in Washington, D.C. But I digress. The Mets and Juan Soto, worried about this situation?
I'm not worried about the Mets because of Juan Soto, and anyone that is just a dummy. I don't know what else to tell you. Juan Soto is one of the best living baseball players, and frankly, I've been trying to temper all Mets expectations for these last couple of weeks because I want to remind every Met fan out there. And yeah, if you're listening to this or watching this right now, and you're a Met fan, look into the mirror right now and answer this question. Did you want to kill Francisco Lindor a year and a half ago and the year before that and the year before that? Because the answer is you did. You all hated Francisco Lindor. And now he's the captain of the team. Guys, he'll figure it out. And he better figure it out. He's got 15 years on his contract to figure it out. I think it's going to be fine. The problem with the Mets is not Juan Soto. Keep in mind, Juan Soto is not actually playing that bad. Now, is he playing at a $750 million clip? Absolutely not. He's hitting .250. He's got like 7 home runs, and his on-base percentage is a little bit down. But he is getting on base. His slugging's a little down. The problem with the Mets is their pitching and the back end of their bullpen. That's what I'm worried about for this team going forward. Juan Soto will get it together. This offense can go toe-to-toe with any team in Major League Baseball. The problem is, are they as good as the Phillies? I don't think they are. And also the Mets, the Braves just got back Ronald Acuna Jr., who went right ahead and homered in day one. Beware, everyone, because this is not looking good. Yeah, you should all be scared. You should all be scared. Everyone. I tried to tell you, 0-8. Oh, yeah, it's all over for the Braves. Shut up. They're coming back, and it's going to hurt.
Well, let's jump right into that because they did lose last night despite the Acuna homer there. So they lose 2-1 to the Padres, which maybe is a good thing from a betting standpoint because I think I asked this question like 15 times when they got off to that slow start, and I never ultimately pulled the trigger. But I'm pulling up the odds right now. The Braves are 6-1 to come back and win this division. Phillies are your favorites at minus $125. Mets are plus 155. Can the Braves come back and win this division? Would you look into buying some Braves stock right now?
I would. I honest to God would. Schwallenbach has proven to be that he's a dude. You got Strider coming back. You got Acuna Jr. back now all of a sudden. What kind of player is Acuna Jr. going to be for the rest of the season, considering that he's coming back from his second ACL? I don't know. That's the big outlier question of the day. What are these players going to be? They've locked up this team for like the next 10 years. They expect this to be a perennial World Series contender, and I see no reason why it shouldn't be. Now, granted, I do wish they went out and got another arm when they lost Fried. That did absolutely hurt, but I think this team is looking good right now. They're right back at 500, just one game under 500. On top of that, they're only 7.5 games out of first place. 7.5 games out of first place for a team that started 0-8 on the year. Let's not forget that the Phillies lost their second best arm for 80 games this season, and he won't be with them during the playoffs. Let's not forget the Mets don't have a good pitching staff at all, and there's something very wrong with my dog.
I was just going to say, this is clear a sign when you're talking about a 6-1 team, when dogs bark, it's just the sign from the gambling gods, we got to bet the Braves.
Franklin is a big believer in the Braves, and if you don't listen to Franklin, you basically bet at your own peril.
All right. I want to get out on this. Cody Decker joining us, our friend at Decker6 on social media. The Colorado Rockies actually won a baseball game last night. They're now 9-42. They beat the New York Yankees. All right. Can we put into perspective how terrible they are? And from a gambling standpoint, it's not like we could just go out there and lay the money line against them, because when they win a game like they did last night, it's going to hurt a lot. So what do we do with the Rockies from a betting standpoint? Is we taking alt runs against them, alt run lines? How do we bet against them? Or dare I say, is there life in Denver right now?
No, there isn't. I found out an amazing stat yesterday. I had Ariel Epstein on my show yesterday, and she gave me an amazing stat that I didn't know about, that if you just faded the Rockies on the money line all season long, you actually would be up right now, despite the fact that you were basically taking like -2 to 1 odds. You would be up over $1,000 on the year. So how do you play the Rockies? Auto fade. The end. Auto fade, auto fade, auto fade, auto fade, auto fade. They have 8 wins, Tim. They have 8.
8
wins.
9 wins. They beat the Yankees last night. Just want to reinforce. They beat the Yankees.
Yankees. Sorry.
Let's get
the parade going. They got 9 wins.
Hey,
buddy, this is the worst team in baseball history. This might be the worst team in sports history.
Oh, man. Cody, you're the best. Always enjoy chatting with you, and make sure to bet a lot on college baseball today, okay?
No! Baseball bets, baby! Over 1.5 total bases. It's still free money everywhere. Guys, learn the books. It's right there.
Cody, appreciate it, brother.
Love you.
There he is, Cody Decker. Always appreciate his insight. Check his show there on SiriusXM's Mad Dog Radio. Michelle Beadle and Cody Decker. Hey, if you want to know where the money is really going, unlike other sources, our betting splits at VSiN come straight from Circa and DraftKings Sportsbook, giving you insights on where the sharp action is landing. So you can see the percentage of bets versus the percentage of handle on every single game in every major sport. And you can check those out for as little as $9.99. Head on over to vsin.com/subscribe. A little college football chatter. How good are the Clemson Tigers going to be?
If you work in quality control at a candy factory, you know strict safety regulations come with the job. It's why you partner with Grainger. Grainger helps you find the high-quality and compliant products your business needs to inspect, detect, and help correct issues. And the sweetest part is, everyone gets a product that's as safe to eat as it is delicious. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
You just realized your business needed to hire someone yesterday. How can you find amazing candidates fast? Easy. Just use Indeed. Stop struggling to get your job post seen on other job sites. With Indeed sponsored jobs, your post jumps to the top of the page for your relevant candidates, so you can reach the people you want faster. According to Indeed data, sponsored jobs posted directly on Indeed have 45% more applications than non-sponsored jobs. Don't wait any longer. Speed up your hiring right now with Indeed. And listeners of this show will get a $75 sponsored job credit to get your jobs more visibility at Indeed.com/PODKATZ13. Just go to Indeed.com/PODKATZ13 right now and support our show by saying you heard about Indeed on this podcast. Terms and conditions apply. Hiring? Indeed is all you need.
You're tuned in to the VSiN Weekend Morning Line.
We keep it rolling here on a Saturday morning, live from the Circa Sportsbook in downtown Las Vegas, Nevada. Busy day ahead. We will continue to talk some hockey and NBA with you, top of the hour, as once again we get the Eastern Conference Finals rolling along as the Florida Panthers trying to make it a 3-0 lead in that series, winning both games on the road against the Carolina Hurricanes. We'll get to our best bets here in just a moment as well. And then in the NBA, of course, we've got the Minnesota Timberwolves back at home, and they are looking to get on the board against the Oklahoma City Thunder. Our guy Douglas Farmer going to join us in hour number 3. We will also chat with Jeffrey Benson here on the show in the final hour of the program, as the news this week of Circa Millions, Circa Survivor, and a new big contest out there, $100,000 entry. We'll talk about that and how it all came to fruition. But it's never too early to talk college football, in my opinion. We are 98 days away from our first full Saturday of college football. 91, if you want to talk week 0. You know I'm going to talk some week 0. Farmageddon Going to be over in Dublin. Better be ready, Dublin. Get your Busch Light imported over now because Iowa State is going over to outdrink you guys. Kansas State, Iowa State over in Ireland. Also on the island, I always love week 0 because you start, it's kind of become the new tradition, right? 2 years ago, Notre Dame played Navy to start the year in Ireland. And then last year was Boston College, Florida State. And then you end the day in Hawaii. And that's what we get this year. Game time still TBD between Hawaii and Stanford, but you got the Rainbow Warriors taking on the Cardinal, who have had, needless to say, I would say, to sum it up, a disastrous offseason. Stanford. And that might be putting it lightly. And Hawaii, I was talking to Matt Grill on the VSiN College Football Betting Podcast earlier this week from DraftKings, and I wasn't yelling at him, but I was upset with him, saying, come on, couldn't give us a 3 with Hawaii. It had to be 2.5, but that is definitely going to be on my card. I just don't think on May 24th, right now, you need to take 2.5 with Hawaii against Stanford. But that is a game I will definitely be looking at, fading Stanford. And even if I go down in flames, I just think you got to go against Stanford right now. One of the lowest P4 totals, maybe the worst P4 team out there. They and Purdue probably going neck and neck there, even though with Barry Odom going to Purdue, you would think maybe there's some optimism regarding the Boilermakers after the success that he had out at UNLV. But I want to do a little exercise with you guys here. So I had mentioned Clemson, and Clemson is a team that I have bet to win the ACC. And a little bit later on in the show, I'm going to play you a clip of Bruce Feldman on the Clemson Tigers. And if you read Bill Conley's article earlier this week with the returning production per S&P Plus, Clemson's number 1 in the country. And they've got a quarterback returning in Cade Klubnik that I rank as the best returning quarterback in the country. And I didn't put Arch Manning at number 1 because I don't know what Arch Manning is going to be. Could he end up the best quarterback in the country? Absolutely. He's the betting favorite to win the Heisman Trophy for a reason. But I wanted to get to this little exercise, and I'm going to give a shout to David Hale of ESPN for unearthing these numbers, because I thought this was a really fascinating way to look at it. Because heading into this year, there's a lot of, I would say, skepticism on Carson Beck. Carson Beck headed to Miami, gets the big NIL payday, had to deal with Tommy John surgery this offseason, which is kind of unheard of for a quarterback. But earlier this week, Mario Cristobal, talking to CBS, said he's full go. He's going to be ready to go for summer workouts. So we've got a blind resume test courtesy of David Hale over at ESPN.com. And I'm going to run through these numbers for you. So quarterback A is his numbers last year. 82.3 QBR, 28 touchdowns, 12 interceptions, 64.7 completion percentage, 7.78 yards per attempt. That's QBA. QBB, 79.1 QBR, 29 touchdowns, 12 interceptions, 64.2% completion percentage, 7.72 yards per attempt. Pretty close, pretty much neck and neck, right? Who are these two quarterbacks? QBA, Carson Beck last year. QBB, Garrett Nussmeier last year. Almost identical stats. And the perception of these two quarterbacks heading into this year, Garrett Nussmeier going to take the next step, could be the number 1 pick in the NFL draft, could win the Heisman Trophy. Carson Beck, I don't know, overrated. Identical numbers a year ago. And I think a lot of it has to do with the fact that Carson Beck a year ago was the Heisman Trophy favorite entering the year at 9-1 and was the betting favorite to be the number 1 overall pick in the NFL draft. So because of that, in my opinion, he is knocked for the production or the lack thereof production in some people's eyes. But I thought those were some pretty fascinating numbers that David Hale pointed out there for Carson Beck. Let's do another blind resume courtesy of David Hale's article over at ESPN.com. All right, we're going to go with quarterback A. 72% completion percentage, 28 touchdowns, 6 picks, 9.5 yards per pass, 3,941 total yards of offense. QB A. QB B. 71% completion percentage, 32 total touchdowns, 10 picks, 8.4 yards per pass, 3,784 total yards of offense. So QBA, 72%, 28 touchdowns, 6 picks, 9.5 yards per pass. QBB, 71% completion percentage, 32 touchdowns, 10 picks. Okay, let's reveal it. QBA, Carson Beck in 2023, and QBB is Carson Beck in 2024 if you adjust his stat line to the same rate of drops and contested catches by his receiving core in 2024 that he had in 23. So this is an adjusted stat line, but once again, pointing out the fact that, yes, Carson Beck numbers weren't as good as they were in 2023 versus 2024, but it is also worth noting that his receivers let him down quite a bit last year at Georgia. What was Georgia's biggest deficiency a year ago? They didn't have playmakers at wide receiver. Great defense, didn't have playmakers at wide receiver. Solid running backs. I say that to say this. Are we sleeping on Carson Beck a little bit heading into this year? I'm not saying I'm putting in a future on him to win the Heisman Trophy, but a guy that was 9-1 to win the Heisman last year, albeit for a team that was preseason number 1 in Georgia, but he's sitting there 25-1 to win the Heisman Trophy this year, and he's going to a situation that led to Cam Ward winning the Heisman Trophy a year ago. And also, am I terrified about going to game 1 for Notre Dame Miami? You bet your butt I am, because the number's only 2.5. And that terrifies me when it comes to that game, which should be a really fun one. All right, I want to get out of here on this. One more blind resume, courtesy of David Hale. So we talked about Garrett Nussmeier, right? And the expectations, the hype surrounding Garrett Nussmeier, LSU quarterback this year. So he was the starter last year, waited his turn. Jaden Daniels was the starter for 2 years in 22 and 23. Of course, record-setting year in 2023, won the Heisman Trophy. But his first year was okay. So let's pull up a blind resume test here. QBA, 78.1 QBR, 68% completion percentage, 7.4 yards per pass, 25 touchdowns. QBB, 78.8 QBR, 64% completion percentage, 7.7 yards per pass, 26 touchdowns. QBA was Jaden Daniels in 2022, the year before he won the Heisman Trophy. QBB, Garrett Nussmeier against FBS competition in 2024. Some comparable numbers there for Jaden Daniels in 22 versus Nussmeier just a year ago. What step does Nussmeier take this year? A lot of hype. And they start the season at Clemson as a 3-point underdog. I can't wait for this college football season to get going. 13 weeks away from week 0, 14 weeks away from week 1 of the college football season. 98 days from today, we'll be getting you ready for LSU at Clemson. Prime time under the lights in Death Valley, South Carolina. Top of the hour, we circle back to the NHL and NBA postseason. It is the VSiN Weekend Morning Line.
If you work in quality control at a candy factory, you know strict safety regulations come with the job. It's why you partner with Grainger. Grainger helps you find the high-quality and compliant products your business needs to inspect, detect, and help correct issues. And the sweetest part is, everyone gets a product that's as safe to eat as it is delicious. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
You just realized your business needed to hire someone yesterday. How can you find amazing candidates fast? Easy. Just use Indeed. Stop struggling to get your job post seen on other job sites. With Indeed sponsored jobs, your post jumps to the top of the page for your relevant candidates, so you can reach the people you want faster. According to Indeed data, sponsored jobs posted directly on Indeed have 45% more applications than non-sponsored jobs. Don't wait any longer. Speed up your hiring right now with Indeed. And listeners of this show will get a $75 sponsored job credit to get your jobs more visibility at Indeed.com/PODKATZ13. Just go to Indeed.com/PODKATZ13 right now and support our show by saying you heard about Indeed on this podcast. Terms and conditions apply. Hiring? Indeed is all you need.